This Tuesday, April 9th, MLB Betting Picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based, available in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's KUTT.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, MLB, NHL, college basketball, and more. Sign up today using promo code MLBSGPN to get a 100% deposit match. And we're also brought to you by Avo. Avo is the premium arbitrage sports betting tool. Use their tool to bet both sides and lock in a profit. Access their platform for free at arbsversusodds.com. That's arbsvsodds.com. Again, arbsversusodds.com. And in honor of Masters Week, the Golf Gambling Podcast guys are giving away a tailor-made Spider X putter for absolutely free. Enter at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/masters. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Monday, early evening, to get into our MLB betting picks for the Tuesday card in the association on the diamond. I will stop doing that pretty soon before the NBA season gets over. But here to get into our MLB betting picks for the Tuesday card. And joining me here to help me break everything down, I've got my guy here with me. It's Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Can't complain. Can't exactly recap our picks from yesterday because the games haven't started yet. So we got some baseball later on tonight. We got the national championship game. I didn't realize it was at 9:20, which is a very interesting start time locally for me. But I guess that's because the game's in Arizona, so they have to balance it out accordingly to local time. But yeah, we got about 4.5 hours before the start of the national title game. So yeah, we got baseball to keep us busy for a couple hours before that.
Yeah, we got a game, I think, tipping off. You guys have to bear with me with my NBA references, but we got a game.
Pitching off.
Yeah, pitching off. See, like for hockey, there's a term. Like for NBA, we'd say a tip off. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could say
for hockey, you do puck drop. I don't know. First pitch is usually what they have for baseball.
Yeah, there you go. First pitch, I guess we can say. Starting here in about 20 some odd minutes. Between, I think it's the Pirates. That's the first game. The White Sox and the Guardians are kicking off there in Cleveland with Tristan McKenzie. They announced Tanner Banks as a starter earlier this morning for the Chicago White Sox for that first game on Monday. But full schedule of game here on Tuesday and some more day baseball early on Tuesday between the Tigers and the Pittsburgh Pirates there, Scott. But before we do get into the games for Tuesday, see TVDBJ present and accounted for first in the chat there. So what's going on, TVDBJ? He is rooting for Purdue in the national championship game. So I think I'm gonna be on the Purdue side as well. But hey, like I mentioned, guys, earlier, it's a big week. We're kicking it off with the college basketball men's national championship. Later in this week, one of the more exciting weeks, you can say, it's Masters Week. And like I mentioned, these guys over at the Golf Gambling Podcast, they're giving away that tailor-made Spider X putter absolutely free. All you got to do to enter is go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/masters. And also on Tuesday, if you guys are getting to this pod early, 4:00 on the West Coast Pacific time, Sean and Ryan are going to a special Circa Sports watch party starting Tuesday, like I mentioned, afternoon at 4 p.m. local time at Swing Social. You can get free drinks for anyone that's going to be wearing Cubs gear or Padres gear. Grab a drink, grab a cocktail, and say what's up to Sean and Ryan. They will be out there in San Diego for the game between the Cubs and the Padres at Swing Social. in a special event that's going to be hosted by our friends over at Circus Sports. So make sure if you are in the San Diego area, you guys get out there and say what's up to the guys over at Swing Social. All right, Scott, let's get into the games here for the Tuesday card. Like I mentioned in the early start, we got the Detroit Tigers. They are in Pittsburgh. It'll be a 12:35 Eastern start on the East Coast. I am currently seeing over on FanDuel that the starting pitchers for this game will be Casey Mize and Martin Perez gets a start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates are a -116 home favorite with a total of 9 with a little bit of juice towards the under. Run line -1.5, +155 for the Tigers, and +1.5, -188 for the Pirates. I'm sure you can flip the run line, obviously, for either side. Close to a pick 'em here between these two teams here. But game two between the Tigers and the Pirates here. Scott, what are we thinking about this matchup?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to actually pick a side here because the line's basically even. Perez has been so far surprisingly decent this season. Mize has not been, but we all know Martin Perez can't exactly be trusted over a long stretch of time. So I think for this one, I'm going to lean to the under in this one. I think Mize, I think he'll pitch better than he did against the Mets his first time out. As for Perez, I think he's fine. I think at the end of the day, I'm not a big fan, but Detroit's offense has been, let's say, up and down so far this season. So
Yep.
I'll lean to the under, maybe a slight lean to Pittsburgh, but nothing substantial. I'll just lean to the under in this game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be on the Pirates side here. Martin Perez has been a pitcher that's, I think, over the past couple seasons, he's been trustworthy, I think is a proper word for him. I know he was with the Red Sox a few seasons ago. I believe last year was really good as well. He was at the Rangers last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the prior, like I mentioned, he was with the Red Sox as well. 10-4 last year, 4.45 ERA. Did struggle on the road last year. We had a 5-3 record with a 5.18 ERA. But in his first two starts this season for the Pirates, he's actually gotten the run support because the Pirates have scored at least 7, or have scored exactly 7 runs, I should say, in both of his starts. And he's only allowed a total of 3 earned runs in 11 innings pitched here. So, like you mentioned, right, the Tigers continue to struggle on the offensive side where they're kind of been really inconsistent. I think there's been like 1 game or 2 games where, they had more than 5 runs. But other than that, it's just kind of been lackluster for this Tigers offense. So, I mean, record-wise, you're off to a good start, but at the end of the day, you still have to score runs to win games in the MLB. But, I like what I've seen from Perez. I think that Casey Mize also struggled, like you mentioned, coming out of the gate, especially against the Mets. And that's kind of telling for me, especially with the Mets offense had a struggle as well. So I'll say all that to be on the Pirates here at -116 on the money line in this first game on Tuesday afternoon. Next game on the schedule here, Scott, we'll go over to another early afternoon start. We've got the Baltimore Orioles. They are in Boston to take on the Red Sox. Opening day for Red Sox, at least at home, the first home game of the season. Corbin Burns gets to start here for the Baltimore Orioles, and it will be Brian Bello for the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox are a home underdog in this game at +116, -136 on the money line for the Baltimore Orioles and Corbin Burns. Total is set at 8 with juice towards the over at -115. Run line -1.5, +132 for the Orioles, and +1.5, -160 for the Boston Red Sox here. Scott, I think this will be the third start for Corbin Burns, but what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean to the Orioles here. It's a pretty cheap money line price. They've been mediocre so far this season, not great. As for the Red Sox, they've been fine. Then again, facing off against the Angels and the Athletics is a pretty good reason for that. But this is actually the first home game that the Red Sox will be playing, or the first home series, I should say. Actually, no, they don't play on Monday. So this will be the first home game that the Red Sox have. Interesting spot, early afternoon game and a home opener. So I think the crowd will be into it for this game. But I'm going to lean to Burns here. Bello I like, but his overall numbers this season have been, I'd say, average at best so far. He is 1-0, 5.4 ERA, has allowed a hit per inning. So I do think looking at the home run issue for Bello, he has allowed 3 home runs so far this season in 10 innings. Burns gave up a home run to Trout in the first inning of the season, has not given up a home run since. So I do like the fact that Burns has kept the ball in the ballpark. I'll lean to the Orioles, pretty low overall price for the favorites here. I still think Baltimore's the better team. I think we'd agree with that. I'll take Burns on the spot.
Yeah, wind is going to be blowing in this game around 9 to 10 miles per hour. Seeing projected temperatures around 49 to 50 degrees in this game. So typical Boston weather this time of the year. But yeah, I think that Baltimore, especially this offense, dating back to last year, has had a lot of success at Fenway Park. Obviously, it being a hitter's ballpark. Bello is usually good for about 5 innings. Last year, at home was pretty good. He did have a 3.86 ERA. Did have a losing record though of 5-7. And like you mentioned, I his first two starts have been, I think, okay. The home runs are concerned. So if you want to look at a home run prop in this game, whether it's Athlete Rushman, maybe somewhere down their lineup, Austin Hayes, Ryan Mountcamp, somebody I think will probably get over the fence in this game for the Baltimore Orioles, and maybe an Orioles team total to go over in this game as well. I do like that angle, but I think that's a good spot here for the Orioles. I'm agreeing with you here on the money line for the Orioles against the Red Sox in their first home game of the season. Our next game on the schedule here, Scott, will go over to the Chicago White Sox. They are in Cleveland to take on the Guardians. I am seeing Mike Soroka is going to get the start here for the Chicago White Sox, and Logan Allen is going to get the start here for the Guardians. Guardians are an overwhelming -196 on the money line, +164 on the money line for the White Sox. Total is set at 8.5. Run line -1.5, +108 for the Guardians, and +1.5, -130 for the Chicago White Sox here, Scott. AL Central matchup. What are you thinking about this game?
Yeah, I think I got to lean to the Guardians run line, maybe the White Sox team total under. We all thought Oakland would be the worst team in the league. They've actually been okay to start the season. Long way to go, but I think Chicago is the worst team in the league. I know Oakland's been actively tanking, and they might end up moving to Sacramento now,
Yeah.
potentially. But yeah, the White Sox are just bad at baseball. They're trying to aim for rock bottom, and I think they achieved it because this team, once Robert got injured and once they traded away Cease, they got nothing. They got absolutely nothing. I think that this team is a lost cause, and we're going to see this team probably lose 120 games. I mean, they're 1-8 so far. You're looking through it. They have to go 42. They need 42 wins to avoid, or I should say 43 wins to avoid 120 losses. Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if they're going to get there. So give me the Guardians on the run line. We know the bullpen is usually good. A lot of low-scoring games, but they are 7-2 so far this season. Once again, a weird spot. They have not played a home game yet. So this will be the home opener. The second home game because they are playing on Monday. It's the first home series for the Guardians, but I don't think Soroka's that good. He was a lot better a second start than the first start, but we know he's kind of bounced around post-injury. He's not the same guy he used to be. It sucks anytime you're a Rookie of the Year candidate and you end up getting injured right after that. But I can't trust him. I can't trust the White Sox. The Guardians, we know they can pitch, and we know the White Sox can't hit. So I'll go with the Guardians run line. I'll look at maybe the White Sox team total under. But this has a pretty standard, 5-2 Cleveland win to it. Give me Guardians run line in the spot.
Yeah, I mean, this team is coming off a sweep at the hands of against the Royals, are the White Sox. I mean, they scored a total of 5 runs in those 4 games against the Kansas City Royals. 10-1 loss, 2-1 loss, 3-0, 5-3 in that span here. So I would look at the Guardians on the run line here. It is plus money currently over at FanDuel at plus 108. So with you there 100%. It's got to continue fading this Chicago White Sox team. And it's kind of telling that they did give up, or Soroka gave up 4 earned runs to the Detroit Tigers, who we talked about that haven't been very good thus far offensively. So I think that the Guardians can definitely get to him here as well. Another road start here for him. So run line here for the Guardians for me as well. Scott, before we get over to the next game on the schedule here, let me tell everyone about Cut. Hey, Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is a new and better way to bet. Bet directly against your friends or other users on sports, politics, pop culture, other events with verifiable outcomes. They have tons of fun social features that give it a feel of a betting social network. Cut offers lower VIG and fully customizable odds to create your own bets. Cut handles the payment side of things so you never have to chase anyone down for money. Social features include group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, and much more. They also have a rewards program. You get cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. Download Cut today in the App Store or over at cut.com. That's KUTT, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And roster brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Play their pick'em game. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's games for a chance to win big. You win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build your pick'em entry. You can sign up with our promo code MLB SGPN and get your first deposit doubled up to $100 as well as an instant pick'em special. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store, and don't forget to register with our promo code MLB SGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100 as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, Scott, let's keep it rolling here, man. Next game on the schedule here, we'll go over to a, let's see, a 6:40 Eastern start. We've got a battle of two NL Central teams. The Cincinnati Reds, they are in Milwaukee to take on the other way around. The Milwaukee Brewers are in Cincinnati to take on the Reds. Saying Joe Ross is going to start here for the Milwaukee Brewers, and Frankie Montas is going to start here for the Reds. Reds are a minus 142 home favorite, plus 120 on the money line for the Brewers. Total is set at 9. A little bit of juice on the over at minus 115. Run line minus 1.5 plus 130 for the Reds, and plus 1.5 minus 156 for the Milwaukee Brewers here. Scott, what are your thoughts on this game between Ross and Montas?
Yeah, I think I got to go at the Reds early in this game, so I'm going to go with the Reds' first 5. Ross, I talked about before making his first appearance this season. It was his first time pitching in the majors in a long, long time. In fact, he had not pitched in the majors before that first appearance since 2021. And in that first appearance, technically he was good because he gave up no runs, but it was not pretty. 3 2/3 against the Twins, 2 hits allowed, 5 walks. He just could not find the plate. Montas has been really good. He's following the script that Sonny Gray followed, which was, I'm going to be really bad with the Yankees, go to Cincinnati and be really good again. And he's been really good, just simply put. So I'll go with the Reds early in this matchup. I don't know how long Ross is going to go, but the point is, if you walk 5 guys in your first appearance since 2021, I'm going to have issues backing you in Great American. So I'm going to go with the Reds' first 5, probably on the run line in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Montas, I think I had some questions about him starting for the Reds, especially on opening day, but he's been really solid. 11 2/3 innings pitch. He's only allowed 9 hits, only 1 earned run in those 11 2/3 innings pitched. Walks may be a little bit of a concern. He did have 3 walks against the Phillies. Total of 9 strikeouts thus far this season. And both of the games that he's pitched in, the Reds have covered the run line 4-1 and then 8-2 against the Nationals. You mentioned, right, with Joe Ross with his first start, he was pretty solid. He did allow 2 hits, but I think the walks were the concern there, right, where he did have 5 walks in that game against the Minnesota Twins, and then the bullpen pretty much gave it up, giving up 7 earned runs to the Minnesota Twins here. So I'm comfortable here with the Reds on the run line here. If you want to go full game, or like Scott mentioned, within the first 5 innings, I think there's a good spot here for the Reds at home. A lot of times, people question if you want to take that run line for these home teams because they don't get all 9 at bats. But I think that, again, if Joe Ross comes out and gives up walks again to the Cincinnati Reds, that they should be able to take advantage of that in this game. I think Montas continues pitching well here for the Reds as well. So I couldn't talk you off of the first 5 run line or even the full game run line here at plus 130. Next game on the schedule here, we'll go over to the Miami Marlins. They are in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees. AJ Puck gets a start here for the Miami Marlins, and Carlos Rodon gets a start here for the New York Yankees. Yankees are a minus 196 home favorite here, with a total of 8, plus 164 on the money line for the Miami Marlins. Yankees -1.5, plus 105 on the run line, and plus 1.5, -126 for the Miami Marlins here, Scott.
Yeah, like I'm supposed to back AJ Puck. Yeah, give me the Yankees in the spot. I've been roasting AJ Puck before his first ever appearance as a starter this season because I don't know why he's starting on this team. Perez is now out for the year. I know that Alcantara's out for the year. I get it. They're shorthanded. I'm not a Rodon guy, but so far this season, he's been tolerable. And he has not really been effective, but he's found himself in and out of trouble. And his ERA is decent, if that counts for anything. I think Puck is just awful. Just simply put, he's a reliever they're trying to convert as a starter or to a starter. And I witnessed this as a Yankees fan because they tried the same thing with like Jabba Chamberlain a long time ago, and that did not go well.
Oh, that's a
Not
name.
all relievers are supposed to be turned into starters, and the Marlins are trying because they're shorthanded. But he's not very good. Just simply put, I can't trust Puck at all. I think Puck is a bad starting pitcher. Rodon is not good, but he can definitely outduel Puck because the bar is set so low. I'll go with the Yankees here on the run line. I just think at home against Puck, it's going to be a tough spot for him against the lineup the Yankees have. Give me the Yankees on the run line. Might be ugly early. I don't mind the over in the first 5 because I think both pitchers are going to struggle, but I think the Yankees find a way to get the bats going once again. Give me the Yankees run line in general, but I am also going to consider the first 5 over.
Yeah, I think the Yankees team total over in this game is going to be the play from here as well. Couldn't talk you off of a Yankees run line in this game here as well. So, I mean, you talk about this Miami Marlins offense, and they haven't been very good against left-handed pitching thus far this season. Team batting average, I know it's still early on, but they still have 176 plate appearances against left-handed pitching. They have the 4th worst team batting average, just at 194. You want to talk about slugging percentage? Miami is the 2nd worst, behind the Milwaukee Brewers. OPS, 3rd worst. WRC plus stat I love looking at. They are the 3rd worst. So again, I think that this offense of the Yankees can get to AJ Puck. Carlos Rodon has been, I mean, he's been pretty good. He faced 2 pretty good offenses, right? He shut down the Astros his first start. He did pretty well against the Diamondbacks. He allowed 2 earned runs in 5 1/3. So maybe he's found his form here again a little bit. I think Rodon is going to be okay, and I think that he could be a bright spot for this rotation of the Yankees, and I think that continues here against the team that really struggles against left-handed pitching early on in the season here in the Miami Marlins. So another run line play for me here as well. And then, if you want to take a team total over for the Yankees, I don't hate that in this game here as well. So yeah, all over the Yankees here against the Miami Marlins. Next game on the schedule here, Scott, we'll go over to the north side between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners. Mariners are going to be starting George Kirby in this game against Chris Bassett. The Mariners are a -112 slight favorite here on the road, -104 at home here for Chris Bassett. Total is set at 8 with juice towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5 plus 142 for the Mariners, and plus 1.5 -172 for the Toronto Blue Jays here. Scott, what are you thinking about Kirby versus Bassett here?
Well, Kirby was really awful in his last appearance, but if you actually looked at the hits that he allowed, a lot of them were pretty soft contact or they hit a fielder's glove. So there was some, I'd say, a lack of luck to it on behalf of Kirby. Bassett's been bad. We know that, though, historically he's been better at home than on the road. I am going to lean to Seattle. Both these teams are kind of similar in the sense that some people had bigger hopes for both these teams. Seattle, I was never fully in on. I know some people with the podcast were. It's still early on, though. We'll see what happens. Toronto, you know my thoughts on. I think they're overrated every year, and I think this year is no different. But I am going to lean to the Mariners. I just think that Kirby's still a better pitcher than Bassett. And I do think that looking at the lineup so far this season for both teams, Toronto's batting below 200, so they have not exactly been as good as we thought they might be offensively. Both teams pitching-wise have been underwhelming in general, so the bullpens can be a bit of an issue, but I think I am going to lean to Seattle here. I just think that Kirby is a bit undervalued based on his last outing, but I think he's better than Bassett, so I'll take Kirby in the spot.
Yeah, Bassett had 1 start against the Mariners last year. 5 innings. He allowed 4 earned runs in that game. Also did have 4 walks as well, and he hasn't got off to the greatest start this season as well, where he's 0-2 with a 7.71 ERA. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs in both starts against the Rays and then the Houston Astros. And like you mentioned, I think Kirby, he's been pretty consistent, whether he's pitching at home or on the road. Definitely, I think I have the better pitcher. I agree with you 100% on that. Last season, his ERA was a little bit higher on the road at 3.98, 2.70 at home last year for him. But again, I think that is a good bounce back spot here for George Kirby in this game. So if you want to look at a Blue Jays team total under, I don't hate that. But I do think the Mariners are the side here for me as well here with you, Scott. So all over the Mariners here on the money line, which is currently at minus 112 over on FanDuel, and just doing some peeking around. They're also minus 105 over on DraftKings right now. So if you want to get the better price, just go over to DraftKings. It's at minus 105 if you're watching this one live. All right, next game on the schedule here, Scott, we'll go over to the NL East. We got the New York Mets. They are in Atlanta to take on the Braves. I am currently seeing that Adrian Hauser is going to get the start here for the Mets, and Ronaldo Lopez gets the start here for the Atlanta Braves. Braves are a minus 188 home favorite, plus 158 on the money line for the New York Mets. Total is set at 9.5 with juice towards the over. Run line minus 1.5, minus 102 for the Braves, and plus 1.5, minus 118 for the New York Mets here. Scott, Hauser versus Lopez. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is a tricky one because it involves the Mets, and I don't know if I could actually ever have faith in them against the Braves in the series, but I'll put it this way. I think Hauser's decent. Ronaldo Lopez, I was really never a fan of with the White Sox, so I'm still a bit skeptical on how he's going to perform here. I think based on that, I might actually lean to the Mets here. Maybe I just don't think they're going to get swept, but I do think if they were going to steal a game, so to speak, I'm just not a Ronaldo Lopez guy. I think Hauser's fine, assuming he can keep the ball on the ground. That's kind of what he's known for. If he can prevent the Braves from going crazy with the long ball, I do think they can keep this game competitive, and I think the Mets might sneak this one out. Plus 160, I like the value on. Minus 190, give or take, with Ronaldo Lopez, I'll pass. I'll take the Mets.
Can I convince you if I said Hauser's 0-4 in 6 appearances against a Brave in his career?
Means he's due. No, I'll go with the value alone. I just think at the end of the day, it's a spot where if the Mets lose this game, would I be shocked? Of course not. It's Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm aware that Atlanta's the better team. But minus 190 with Ronaldo, I can't take that. I just can't do it. I got to lean to the Mets.
Yeah,
maybe Mets team total over. You ignore Hauser entirely, but I can't put faith in Ronaldo Lopez.
Yeah, I think it's similar. Like I think you and I discussed this. It was when James Paxton was like a minus 200 favorite against the Giants. It's just the fact that he has that offense to back him up, where that can propel them to him. If he has a bad start, that offense carried him in this game. And I think that's what's kind of what's happening now is with some of these back of the end rotation guys for both the Dodgers and the Astros, and you throw the Braves into that conversation there as well. So, yeah, again, I don't want to lay that minus 188 price with Lopez either. The thing that concerns me about a Hauser is the walks. If he's going to be walking guys, he had 3 walks in his first start. And a traditional guy that does give up a lot of walks. That's something the Braves can take advantage of. Depending on the weather here, let me see if there is some type of weather in this game. I possibly will look at it over, but I think you're right that the value right now is going to be on the Mets. I don't want to lay that price either with Lopez in this game, despite him having a pretty good first start for the Atlanta Braves against the Chicago White Sox and his former team. In fact, back on Tuesday, where he went 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks for Lopez in that game. But yeah, I think the value definitely here is on the Mets. All right, before we get over to the next game on the schedule, let me tell everyone about the newest sponsor over on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and that's Avo. Look, Avo is something that you guys want to get involved with because we've partnered up for them for a reason. They're the premier sports betting arbitrage tool. And if you're new to arbitrage betting, it's very simple. Basically, you bet both sides of a bet at 2 different sportsbooks to lock in a profit. You don't even have to worry about watching the game because you know that you've locked in that profit. And the Avo tool scans the sports books looking for discrepancies in the odds and then tells you how much money you need to place with each sports book and the expected profit. The tool is super easy to use. It's lightning fast at speed and is a big part of arbitrage sports betting. The best part about Avo is currently free to use without restrictions. That's right, completely free. Get started at arbsvsodds.com. That's arbsversusodds.com. arbsvsodds.com. That's arbsversusodds.com. All right, Scott, let's keep it rolling here. Next game on the schedule here, we've got the game between the let's go to the Astros. They are traveling to Kansas City to take on the Royals. Currently, I am seeing in this game, because there was a pitching change on Monday for the Astros, that Framber Valdez got scratched, but I'm seeing Christian Javier is getting the start here for the Houston Astros, and Cole Ragans gets the start here for the Kansas City Royals. Astros are a minus 126 road favorite here, plus 108 on the money line for the Kansas City Royals. Total is set at 8.5. Run line minus 1.5, plus 126 for the Astros, and plus 1.5, minus 152 for Colt Ragans and the Kansas City Royals here. Scott, what do you think about the Astros and Royals?
So just to ask, I see that Valdez got scratched today.
Yes.
Does that mean he's pitching tomorrow, or is he injured?
Let me see if I can dig that up, but I still see Javier listed as the pitcher for the Tuesday card. Let me see if let me find out who's pitching tonight for the Astros.
Either way, I'm going to lean to the under in this game. I know both teams offensively, the Astros have been a bit underwhelming. Kansas City's been okay. They had a 4-game sweep against the White Sox. Congratulations, you beat a team that's going to lose 120 games. So I can't really read much into it, but I do have to at least point out that both pitchers I do like quite a bit. Javier's been really good so far this season, and Ragans was my pick to win the Cy Young in the AL. So I'm not going to go against Ragans right now. He's been really good, and he also shut down a good Orioles team. So I'm going to go with the under in this one, maybe first 5 under as well. But 8.5, that feels a bit high to me with these pitchers. I am going to go with the under.
Yeah, I think Henley in the start here for the Astros on this last game against the Rangers on Monday. So it'll still be Christian Javier going for the Astros. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned both these pitchers have looked really good this far this season. Christian Javier has been a guy that the Astros have really need to rely on, whether it's been coming out of the bullpen or starting for this team. And I think the one concern that you do have about Javier is the walks. And again, he did have 5 walks in the last game against the Toronto Blue Jays. Fortunately, it didn't come to cost him because he only allowed 1 hit in that game over 5 innings, and he's only allowed 5 hits overall and no earned runs thus far this season to the opposition. They faced your Yankees. He didn't allow any earned runs in 6 innings, and then he shut out, like I mentioned, the Toronto Blue Jays in the last start that he did have. And you mentioned, right, Cole Ragans has been really good thus far this season. For the Kansas City Royals, despite being 0-1, he does have a 1.46 ERA. So I think a first 5 under may be worth a look here. Maybe take the Astros bullpen out of it, because I still don't trust that bullpen, because they've squandered multiple leads and games thus far this season for the Astros. So I'll lean Astros money line here, but first 5 under is what I would definitely be putting my money on in this game between Javier and Cole Ragans. All right, next game on the schedule here. Let's go over to the game between the LA Dodgers against the Minnesota Twins. Currently, I am seeing Tyler Glasnow is getting the start here for the Dodgers, and Louis Varland is getting the start here for the Minnesota Twins. Dodgers minus 186 on the money line, minus 105 on the run line. For the Minnesota Twins, on the money line is plus 156 and plus 1.5, minus 111 on the run line. Total is set at 8.5 with juice towards the under at minus 120 here, Scott. But we've got Glasnow versus Varland in this game.
Yeah, I have a hard time going against Glass now because he's been really good so far this season. Two starts, two or three starts, I think,
Three
because
starts,
he
yeah.
also started one of the games in South Korea.
Mhm.
17 innings pitched, 3.18 ERAs, WHIPs .88, so he's been solid. Bit of a walk issue though. He's already walked 7 guys in 17 innings, so we'll see if he can get that under control. Varland is not that great, to be honest. Like I think he's a pretty generic back end rotation guy. Give me the Dodgers run line in this game. I just think that Minnesota, despite being a team that made the playoffs last year, I still don't think they're a great baseball team. It's just because the AL Central is not any good. So I'll go with the Dodgers here. They were not particularly good against the Cubs over the weekend. I think it might be a good get right spot against the Minnesota team that's not exactly in great form right now. Give me Glass now on the run line.
Yeah, couldn't talk you off of it. Blastout's been phenomenal. 6 innings. He did allow 3 earned runs against the Giants, but again, when you have that offense that's backing you, you're going to have a chance to win any game even if you give up 3, 4, maybe even 5 runs in a game. And mentioned Varland. He did allow 3 earned runs in 4 innings pitched against the Milwaukee Brewers in that game. So again, you get all 9 at bats with the Dodgers. If you look at a Dodgers team total over, whether you want to go run line here for the Dodgers here as well, couldn't talk you off of that here. So it's Dodgers again all the way in this series against the Twins here. Next game on the schedule here, we'll go over to the Philadelphia Phillies against the St. Louis Cardinals. Currently seeing Zach Wheeler is getting the start here for the Phillies and Sonny Gray on the mound here for the St. Louis Cardinals. Phillies are a minus 126 road favorite, plus 108 on the money line for the St. Louis Cardinals. Total is set at 7.5 with juice towards the under. Run line minus 1.5 plus 130 for the Phillies and plus 1.5 minus 156 for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I believe this will be Sonny Gray's first start of the season for the St. Louis Cardinals here, Scott.
Yeah, I feel bad for Wheeler. He's made 2 starts. He has a .75 ERA and he's 0-1. So the run support has not been there for Wheeler, but I'm going to lean to the under in this game, but I have to lean to Philly. Wheeler's been fantastic. I'm not sure what Sonny Gray we're going to get. I'm not sure how long he's going to pitch. Might be on an innings limit. We'll see, since it is his first start of the season. So we'll see what happens, but I'll lean to the under in this game, and I think I have to lean to Philly. Wheeler, once again, he might be 0-1, but he's been incredible so far this season. So I'll go with Wheeler in the spot.
Yeah, it's always tough backing that first pitcher or backing a pitcher in his first start of the season, especially coming off of an injury as well, right? Um, and we've seen that with multiple guys that have made their first start here. I think Blake Snell's going to be another example on the Monday night card to see. Well, he was on an injury; he just signed late with the Giants, but nonetheless, for Sonny Gray, I'd probably look at a walk prop in this game just to maybe see if he just has some rust, kind of shaking off that rust. Maybe he's not able to locate his pitches and things like that. But you mentioned with Zach Wheeler, it's just that he hasn't gotten the run support from the Philadelphia Phillies. Brilliant start in his last game against the Reds, where the Phillies dropped that game 4-1, despite 1 earned run given up. He did give up 3 runs overall in that game to the Cincinnati Reds, but I think that he can go along fairly well in this game here against the Cardinals. Historically, against the Cardinals in his career, 4-2 with a 2.44 ERA and 7 appearances. He's had 42 strikeouts in that span. And since he joined the Phillies, he's a perfect 4-0 against the St. Louis Cardinals, posting a ERA of 0.62, 29 innings pitched against his Cardinals team, Scott. He's
That's
only
pretty good.
allowed, 2 earned runs to the Cardinals. So, yeah, give me the cheap price here on the Phillies with Zach Wheeler, minus 126, currently over on FanDuel. Next game on the schedule, we'll go with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are in the Mile High City to take on the Colorado Rockies. Merrill Kelly gets to start here for the Diamondbacks, and Cal Quantrill gets to start here for the Colorado Rockies. Diamondbacks minus 176 on the money line, plus 148 on the money line for the Colorado Rockies. Total is set at 11. Run line minus 1.5, minus 113 for the Diamondbacks, and plus 1.5, minus 106 for the Colorado Rockies here, Scott. This might be a quick handicap, but take it away.
Yeah, am I ever supposed to actually have faith in the Rockies? That's the question. See, there are bad teams in the league. We already talked about the White Sox, for example. Colorado's 2-8. They might not be as bad as the White Sox. There might be a bit of a gap there. The games against Tampa Bay were close.
Mm-hmm.
They arguably could have won a couple of them, but Yeah, the Diamondbacks have not been in good form. They've been really bad on the road, but I do think Merrill Kelly's better than Quantrill. I don't have Kelly's numbers at Coors in front of me, though. Maybe you do. But I'm not going to back Quantrill in the spot. I lean to the over. Diamondbacks team total over. I think Quantrill's going to get killed in this game. So I'll keep taking the Diamondbacks. They're currently ranking third in the league in runs per game. Part of it's based on inflation, though. They did end up scoring 16 runs in the first game of the season, but they've been a solid offense so far. Quantrill's a mess. And I think this is his first ever, I'd say, start at home in Coors as a member of the Rockies. So good luck to him. But let me just confirm that. Yes, both the starts were on the road. He got killed by Arizona, gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Faced off against the Cubs, gave up 4 runs in 4 innings. Now he's once again pitching in Coors. Have fun. I'll take Arizona in the spot, but I think Arizona team total's worth a look. I don't have Kelly's numbers in front of me, though. With regard to Coors, maybe you do.
Yeah, so Merrill Kelly in Coors Field has made 6 appearances. He's 3-2 with a 4.91 ERA, but since 2021, over the last 4 starts, Merrill Kelly is 2-1 with a 3.60 ERA. He did have one bad start back in 2021 where he did allow 6 earned runs, but since then he's pitched 3 starts against the Rockies. He's pitched a total of 19 innings, and he's only allowed 4 earned runs in that spot in Colorado. Obviously, the dynamics are different. We know in Colorado and the altitude and all that stuff. But like you talked about that first series, he had a really good outing against the Rockies, 6 2/3, 8 strikeouts, only allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits. Then against your Yankees, he had a pretty decent start, 7 innings. He only allowed 5 hits, 2 earned runs in that game. So both Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are in great form here. Again, you would maybe want to look at a run line here for the Diamondbacks as they get all 9 at bats. Team total over for the Diamondbacks as well, whether it's first 5 innings or whether it's full game team total for their Diamondbacks. I think they just tee off on Cal Quantrill here, who's off, like we mentioned, off to a really, really bad start for the Rockies pitching rotation in this season, I should say. Getting over to the next game on the schedule here. It is going to be the Oakland A's against the Texas Rangers. Let me see if we have lines for this game yet. I do not see lines. Let me refresh the page. Let's see. Yeah, no lines yet, but we do have pitchers. It's going to be Alex Wood against Nathan Eovaldi of the A's and the Rangers here. But Scott, I mean, I'm going to be all over the Rangers here. I can't make a case here for Alex Wood here, especially him being a left-handed pitcher and how well this Rangers team has done against left-handed pitching, and just Alex Wood this season. 0-1 with a 9.72 ERA, allowed 6 earned runs to the Guardians. He gave up 3 in 5 innings to the Red Sox. So if you want to look at a team total over for the Rangers, first 5 are full game, but all over the Rangers in this spot here, Scott.
Yeah, I think I have to lean to the Rangers as well. Just looking at this matchup, as far as I can tell, Blanco's not pitching, so the Rangers might actually get a hit in this game. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I'll go with the Rangers at home. I just think with the uncertainty involving, I'd say Houston's consistency, we have not really seen them string together wins yet. We know it's on the way because we still think this team is going to be solid. Houston, obviously, but I do think you mentioned Alex Wood, who is, I'd say, not very good. But the point is, Oakland and Houston, same record, which I find kind of funny. That was the segue I was going to make. But the point is, Eovaldi I like. It's well documented. I think he's a good pitcher. But Alex Wood, I do not think is, and he pitches to contact, which can be a bit of a problem against this lineup. Yeah, give me the Rangers run line. Oakland is in pretty decent form, but we know this team's not very good. They've been really good, though, at covering the run line.
Yeah.
Plus 1.5. Oakland's actually been very good. So if you've been taking opponent run line so far this season, you've kind of been getting killed, which is something interesting. But give me the Rangers here. I think after this bit of a war that they've had with the Astros, they're going to look for an easy opponent to beat up on. I think Oakland's a good spot for that. Give me the Rangers on the run line.
Yeah, also not a travel situation for the Rangers as well, right? They've hosted that series against the Astros over the weekend and going into Monday, and they'll just stay at home awaiting the Oakland A's. So I think that, again, the Rangers should be able to put up a lot of runs in this series against the Oakland A's. So no official line for that game, but we do have listed pitchers for that game. Two more games with lines here. So let's get to those here first, Scott. We'll go over to the game between the Tampa Bay Rays and the LA Angels. I'm seeing Aaron Savali getting the start here for the Tampa Bay Rays and Patrick Sandoval for the LA Angels. Looking at the lines for this game, Rays are a minus 126 road favorite, plus 108 on the money line for the Angels. Total set at 8.5 with juice towards the over. Run line minus 1.5 plus 134 for the Rays and plus 1.5 minus 162 for the Angels here. Scott, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'll go with the Rays run line. Savali's been pretty good this season. He has a 1.5 ERA, 0.92 whip. He's been fine. Sandoval, I don't really like, but I want to give him a shout out because he was the one who started the game that I won my Marlins bet with. So shout out to Sandoval because you beat Miami the one time I needed you to beat Miami. So thank you, appreciate it, but you're still not very good as a pitcher. Shout out to Trout as well, who has 4 home runs and 4 RBIs, which is hilarious to me. 4 solo home runs for Trout. He's going to try to join the 40-40 club with 40 home runs and 40 RBIs. The Angels are 5-4. How? I have no idea. This team's not any good. But the Rays are 5-5. They had a nice series win against the Rockies. I can't say that they should have swept because it was a miracle they were even winning that first game before McMahon ended up having the grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. So that's not even, I'd say, a painful loss because it was a miracle they were even winning in the ninth inning. But I am going to go with the Rays. I think they're the better team. And at the end of the day, I still don't think Sandoval's that good. So give me the Rays run line. I think Savali's the better pitcher. Tampa's the better team. It's a pretty good price.
Yeah, I mean, 3 of the 5 wins for the Angels came against the Marlins, like we just talked about. So there's that. And then they've lost the other 2 series where they were able to get one game between the Red Sox, their last series, and then the opening series against the Angels, where they were able to get the rubber game in that series. So, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into their record there for the LA Angels when the 3 of them have come against the lowly Miami Marlins. But yeah, I mean, you're 100% correct. Not going to repeat everything you said, but better pitcher on the mound, better overall team here. Sandoval struggled a little bit on the course of the season. His one great start was against the Marlins, who again struggle against left-handed pitching, and Savali has been great. He's only allowed 1 earned run each in his first 2 starts against pretty good offenses. I know Rangers, he only gave up 1, but they did end up losing that game. Did give up 1 against the Toronto Blue Jays in that game where they did win 8-2. So yeah, Rays here for me here as well. Next game on the schedule, the last one with official lines, that's going to be the Washington Nationals. They are in San Francisco to take on the Giants. Josiah Gray gets a start here for the Nationals, and Kyle Harrison gets a start here for the Giants. Giants are a minus 172 home favorite, plus 144 on the money line for the Washington Nationals, plus 1.5 minus 146 for the Nationals, and minus 1.5 plus 122 for the San Francisco Giants. Total is at 8 with juice towards the over here, Scott, but Josiah Gray versus Kyle Harrison.
Yeah, I want to make a case for the Nationals because the Giants laying this big of a price is not ideal, but Gray's been terrible. I can't trust him at all. His ERA is over 14. Probably not a good sign if your ERA is over 14, but I got to lean Giants here. It's tough to find value. I think Harrison's a decent pitcher, kind of a middle back-end rotation guy. Gray was one of our, I think the show's favorite pitchers early last year, and then he hit an absolute wall. He's been really bad. I can't back him in the spot. So I got to go Giants. Until Gray shows me some signs of life, I'm going to keep fading him because right now, either it's mechanics, either it's mental. I don't know what the story is, but he just can't pitch at the moment. So I'll lean to Harrison.
Yeah, it's just a fade of Josiah Gray, like you mentioned, right? He hasn't done very well, to say the least, to start the season. At least 6 earned runs in both of the starts, which were against the Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Walks continue to be a concern. He's at 5 walks total in his first 2 starts here. Giving up hard contact as well. Gave up 2 home runs to the Reds. Maybe benefits that he's pitching in a pitcher's ballpark in San Francisco, but I understand why he is this big of an underdog in this game. So, yeah, I'd go with the money line here for the San Francisco Giants. Don't want to lay the run line here. I don't trust that offense to create that separation of 2 runs here. It is a big price at minus 172, but I think it's right. I think it's justified, especially with Josiah Gray on the mound for the Washington Nationals. Maybe a get right spot for him, but I need to see it before I can get behind Josiah Gray in the Nationals. So that is the last game with official odds. We do have one game, which is going to be the last game of the night tomorrow between the Chicago Cubs and the Padres. Joe Musgrove is going to start for the San Diego Padres, but no listed pitcher right now for the Chicago Cubbies. So we'll leave it at that for that game. So no official pitcher and no official odds, obviously, for that game, for the last game of the night between the Cubs and the Padres. But again, a quick reminder, if you are going to be in that San Diego area and are in the San Diego area, make sure you guys get out there and hang out with Sean and Ryan. They are going to be at the Swing Social at 4 p.m. To get some drinks with the guys. And again, if you are wearing Cubs or Padres gear, they will get you guys hooked up with a drink there as well. So come by and say hello to Sean and Ryan. All right, Scott, let's get into our lock and dog here for the Tuesday card here. You want to lead us off?
Sure. For the lock, I think I am going to go back to Minnesota. I think I have to go with the Dodgers run line in this game. Varland's a guy I'm just not a big fan of. I think that he is an average at best starting pitcher, and I'm saying that as best case scenario. Glasnow's been great, just simply put, and I do think that the Dodgers are obviously the better team. Minnesota has not been good at all recently, and I'm going to assume that it's because the AL Central is full of a lot of really bad teams. So give me the Dodgers on the run line at about minus 108 as my lock. For my dog, I think I'm going to go with another run line. Tampa's really plus 134 on the run line against the Angels. I just find that price hard to believe. Savali's been really good so far this season. Sandoval has been not great, but he got to face off against AJ Puck, which is always a plus, and that's why he got a win against the Marlins. So give me the Rays run line at plus 134. That price just feels off to me.
All right, for my lock, I'm gonna back your Yankees here on the run line here, minus 1.5, plus 105 right now, against the Marlins and AJ Puck. We talked about how bad he's been, and again, it's a left-handed pitcher going up against the Marlins, who they've struggled. And I think a bonus pick, or additional one I'll throw out there, is to probably get behind Carlos Rodon's strikeout prop in this game. If anywhere around 5.5, I think that he can definitely get over this number against the Marlins. So keep that in mind here. But officially, as my lock, Yankees minus 1.5, plus 105 on the run line. Then for my dog, I'm going to fade the Red Sox here. I'm going to take Corbin Burns and the Baltimore Orioles on the run line, minus 1.5, plus 125. It is the first game for the Red Sox at home, coming off of a long road trip, but it's an early start. But I just have the better offense here with the Baltimore Orioles. Also, the Red Sox are going to be without Trevor Story for at least 10 days, as he was put on the IL with, I believe it was a shoulder injury. But I have the better pitcher. I think that if the walks do get to a concern for Brian Bello, that the Orioles offense will be able to take advantage of that. So on the run line here, minus 1.5, plus 125 for the Orioles as my dog for the Tuesday card in the first game. The second game on the schedule, I should say, for the Orioles and the Red Sox. All right, that is going to wrap it up here for this edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. Scott, anything else you want to mention, my friend, before we get out of here?
No. Once again, I got pending baseball plays now for Monday night and Tuesday night, so hopefully those work out well. Besides that, no, not really. Still got the tennis podcast going on, doing an episode every round for Monte Carlo, so I'm going to be busy there. We got NBA, of course. They're taking the day off today for some reason, I guess because they really want people to watch the championship game. So we're back for the NBA on Tuesday. I'll be on with you, actually, for that show. And besides that, nothing really else to add.
Yeah, NBA's off today. I think all eyes will be on the national championship on Monday night between the Purdue Boilermakers and obviously the UConn Huskies. So hopefully it's a good game. And we'll be back for MLB tomorrow in some form or fashion. And then obviously for NBA with myself and Scott at the usual time, 11:05 Eastern time in the morning. So come tap in with us with the last week of the NBA regular season. Can't believe it, before we do get into the play-in tournament and eventually to the playoffs. But so early on in baseball, still a lot of money to be made. Make sure you guys follow Scott on Twitter. That's at Reichel Radio. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. More importantly, we are 47 subscribers away on YouTube to reaching that 1,000 milestone. So if you haven't already subscribed and joined us on the MLB Gambling Podcast, please go ahead and do so. Really helps us grow the show. Leave us a review as well for the MLB Gambling Podcast. And if you want to comment on the video there as well, do us a favor, leave your lock and dog on that in the comments below on the YouTube if you haven't already. And I'll do my best to go through them and shout out some of the winners that are thrown out there from some of you guys. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.